And if we want to go back to the whole thing framed, first, since it's selected on here, it keeps thinking we want to work with this. So what we're going to do is right click, go to object mode again, and then everything will be able to be selected. So I want to do that and press the F key so we frame everything here again. Alright, cool. Next, let's work on our tail. So let's add a couple of edge loops in here. Alright, so let's get started. It's already in edge mode, so that's kind of cool. Let's work with vertex mode this time, just to switch it up. I'm going to frame it so we can work in nice and close. Alright, so let's start getting some movement in this tail. So I'm going to do some rotations this time again. Rotate just a little bit. I find working with vertexes is a lot easier for most of the things, but sometimes you're going to definitely need to work with edges, so it just kind of depends on what is more comfortable and how everything works out. And so with this, I'm going to make sure I select just what I want. Sometimes you can't drag and select, sometimes you're going to have to select it by hand like I'm going to have to do with this. Not a big deal. Doesn't take too long. And perfect. So now that I have that, I'm going to make this a little bit wider by using the scale tool. So now it looks more like a tail. The edge of our end of our tail there. Alright, cool. So that's our tail. I'm going to go back to object mode for that. Not too bad. Looks kind of weird a little bit, but you can always fix that. And then next we're going to make our elephant a little less round because it looks really round, and that's not really what an elephant looks like. So I'm just framing that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, let's see, I'm going to click open one of the side menus. And if that's not open already, you can click the wrench tool over here on the side, and that'll open a whole new menu over here. And so what I want to do is I'm going to go to the soft selection menu thing here, and I'm going to turn that on. And so what that does, it'll be kind of obvious once I use it. I'm just going to go to vertex mode because that's a little easier for me. You can choose edges or faces, whatever works the best. Come on, there we go. So I'm going to select a couple of vertexes, and as you can see, it's a whole bunch of color now. So the yellow part is where it's affected the most, and then it eventually turns red into black where it's affected very little, and then gray where it's not affected at all. And so what that means is when I move something, everything moves with it. So it's not just a couple of vertexes moving by themselves. So it really helps with a lot of things, making them not look so choppy. And so I don't want such a big effect here, so what I want to do is I'm going to do the fall off radius, make that a lot lower, so only a little bit is affected. Perfect, that's much better. So if I move it, only this little bit moves, and that's what I want. Also, if you want to work on both sides at the same time, so it doesn't look weird when you go away if it's supposed to look the same on both sides, click the reflection tool, and make sure if it doesn't look right, if it looks like that, and for some reason you're like, why isn't it on the other side? Try changing which axis it's on, and then you'll probably figure out that's what was wrong. So I want it to be like this, so when I move it, both sides move, which is a lot more handy than trying to make it look the same on both sides. So it looks a little better, and we can always select a little less vertexes and move that in. There we go, so our elephant is not as round, which looks a lot better. And we can do the same thing with the head. Let's go back to object mode for that because we don't want to mess with that. And let's do the same thing. And I want to move the back here too. But uh-oh, look what happens. It's not on the right axis, so we have to change it. It's the z-axis, and we'll move that. Alright, there is a pretty cool elephant. And with using those tools, you can get a lot cooler models, do all kinds of things. I can show you one of the models that I've done. I mean, it's not amazing or anything, but it's just using these really simple things. You can do a lot with it. So let's see. I did this model the other day. If it opens, there we go. And that's just using the same tools that we just did. You can make a lot more complex models, do all kinds of cool things. And that's what it looks like. And so using those basic tools, just remember you can make pretty much anything you need to make that looks pretty basic with those tools. Good luck!